Welcome back to some more Hanyu. Hanyu, the Hanyu chapter. Everyone loves Hanyu. Last time, what happened last time? Just their, daily lives, 3-year time skip, living together. Good times. oh, not, Ritu asked her to get married, and I think they are accepting. And then there's that tip where Hanyu basically said how she's gonna die. Not like how she's gonna, but like do this if shit goes down, and obviously shit does go down because that's how it's talked about in the real game. So let's just continue on. What's going on in this time in the Hanyu season of Higurashi? The cry of the cicadas resounded throughout the yard. The sun was shining brilliantly, making it the perfect day to dry laundry. Though that said, cumulon cumulonimbus clouds were visible off in the mountains. It's a little warm too, so perhaps we get evening showers. I'll have to be careful. I quickly finished changing our clothes on the clothesline and wiped the sweat off my brow. And then, just as I was about to get a broom to sweep the shrine grounds, I spotted a familiar face coming through the shrine gate's stone stairway. Shino! That's, Kimiyoshi, I think. I smiled back at the woman, who waved while walking toward me. She was Shino Kimiyoshi, yep. Shino was the only daughter of the Kimiyoshi family, the bloodline that served as the mayors of Onitofuchi village and was now a good friend of mine. No sprite. Feels bad. Hanyu using alien technology to keep the well code? No, I'm joking. Unless... Yep, brain freeze. That's what they all say. That's what I say too. Then immediately get a brain freeze. I couldn't help but chuckle at my friend's charming actions. Shino appeared to be a graceful woman with no chinks in her armor, but seeing her holding her head while pounding on the living room floor was oddly amusing. It had been about 3 months since I gotten acquainted with Shino through Riku. On that day, Riku and I were to pledge our lives to each other under the cherry blossom trees, and were resolved to be married. However, at the same time, we realized there was a big problem that needed to be solved. Right, I wasn't very good at doing the bare minimum of housework I'd be required to do as Riku's wife. Housework training arc. No, I'll be honest. To be blunt, I had almost no experience beyond helping out here and there, and was a complete amateur. Sorry, every time, it's the song, dude. It's a freaking earworm. This man. How can I put it softly? You don't know the technique. Okay, well, sewing tired. How do you ruin clothes when doing laundry, though? I guess they're doing the old school laundry. Never mind. They don't have the technology. I'd probably suck at that too. It's true that when we gave the leftovers I'd made... Wait. It's true that when we gave the leftovers I made to a passing stray dog, it passed out and foamed at the mouth. Okay, that's definitely not a good sign. Though I used the same ingredients as Riku, everything I cooked seemed to be deadly poisonous. Why? Man has an iron stomach? Power of love? Power of love, actually. Love conquers all. Oh my... Oh, that's a possible title. Let me put that down. Great reference. Without love, it cannot be eaten. Actual good one. Holy shit. I respect that. Riku's loss for words said it all, so I didn't pry any further. What I studied and honed up until now was my skills with the sword. I took pride in that and believed it to be everything. However, if I was made to be Riku's wife, I needed to resolve to throw away who'd I'd been up until now and learn a completely different skill set. And if possible, I didn't want to depend on his patronage as I had up until now. I loved Riku and I was truly happy right now. So I wanted to make every effort possible to repay him for that joy he'd given me. What? I'm glad she thought this, because I was about to ask, can't Ryu not help for this? But that's not. In fact, I tried counting on her a few times, grasping at whatever straws I could, but none of it was helpful. And so, just as I was at a loss for who and where I could learn about doing chores from. One day, Shino came to me at Riku's prompting. I'd seen her talking to Riku at the shrine grounds a number of times before, so I remembered her well. However, I was a bit tense since it was my first time to speak to her face to face. Do we have a date? Shino then cleared her throat, stood up straight, and turned back to me. The face. Every time. After I nodded awkwardly, Shino smiled widely to ease my tension and took my hand. It was warm and soft. From what I heard, Riku had asked her to come here to teach me about housework and the way things worked around here. Naturally, there would have been problems if he told her, I was a god or someone from another world, so it seemed he told her I was a foreigner. Not exactly a lie, I guess. Not that it was entirely inaccurate, but I felt a little guilty when it came to my age. After all, I was much older than Shino, to say the least of the village elders.
シノさんは女性ですからね。私では気づかないことでも、きっとあなたの力になってくれると思いますよ。
そうそう。リクってあんまり気が利かないっていうか、いつも思い込みが激しいでしょ。おまけに人の話を聞かないし。あ、確かにそうです。
Bully him.
やっぱり。いずれにしても、リクのお嫁さんなら、私にとっても妹みたいなものですから。どうか遠慮しないで、何でも相談してくださいね。
Shino laughed with a cheerful expression. It would seem she was a rather broad-minded person who was very open around strangers. Apparently she had been Ritu's friend since childhood and taken care of him like an older sister. As such, she knew his personality well. I had to admit, I felt a little jealous about that.
私の知らないリクを知っている人か。
Well, that said, she was already married and had 2 sons. Don't have to worry about that. And although it was only a mite, I could feel Ritu consciously building a wall against her for the whole conversation. I understood that was out of consideration for me and was a bit relieved.
よろしくお願いします、シノさん。よろしく。私のことはどうかシノと呼んでくださいね。
And so Shino started instructing me. And that's how we got here. At first it was all a disaster, with Shino getting exasperated with me time and time again, and occasionally receiving stern warnings from her. Despite that, thanks to her boundless benevolence and willingness to teach me, even I slowly but surely managed to get it good enough that I could somehow take care of the housework.
洗濯もちゃんとできるようになってきたわね。最初はどうなることかと思っていたけれど、もう立派なお嫁さんよ。ええ、指導してくれたシノには感謝しています。あなたがいなければ、家事らしいことは何一つこなせなかったはずですから。最初はびっくりしたわ。リクが自分の花嫁さんに家事を教えてくれって頼みに来た時はどんな
It's a fair assumption. At the times.
まさか外国人さんとは思わなかったけれど。あ、すみません。この国の文化にはまだ馴染みがなくて。謝らないでいいのよ。知らなくて当たり前なんだし、慣れないところに嫁いでくるのがどれだけ大変なことか、私は分かっているつもりだから。しっかり覚えるまで何でも私に聞いてね。でも、なんだかあなたにはご迷惑をかけてしまっているようで。いいのよ。だって私たち友達でしょ。ええ、あなたは私の大切な友達です。
I answered from the bottom of my heart. I can't begin to process just how much of a godsend Shino has been for me. Truth be told, there's a reason why we became fast friends in such a short time. A little while ago, Shino accidentally discovered my horns. Okay, I was about to say this might end tragically when the incident happens, but horns have been discovered, so Shino's chill with it. It happened about a month after she started instructing me in the ways of housework. Shino happened to trip on a bump of the ground, and I saved her from falling. At that moment, she accidentally touched my head, knocking the hood covering my horns off. No! Man, people have horns in America. I turned my head away from Shino's wide eyes. I thought it was all over. That even though I'd finally gotten along with someone other than Riku, my carelessness had destroyed it all. That dejection and despair welled up inside me, leading me to hang my head. However, Shino reached out for my horns without any sort of discomfort and spoke with a smile.
かわいいねこ
Damn, that's crazy.
れ。ありがとうね羽生。私ってそそっかしいから。はいこれ。
Shino said that, picked up my hood off the ground as if it were completely natural, and put it on my head. She never brought up my horns after that, and her attitude didn't change a single bit.
別に外国人だからね。例えば瞳の色が違うように外見が違っていてもおかしくないでしょ。
The next day, when Riku secretly questioned Shino after I told him what happened, she just said that and smiled, not bothered by it in the least. That's probably how she decided to take it. And perhaps out of consideration for me, she didn't tell any of the other villagers, and kept coming over as if nothing happened. I was happy. From that point on, I treasured Shino as a friend and trusted her from the bottom of my heart.
ありがとうシノ。ん？どうしたの急に。変な羽生。そうですね。少し変かもしれません。
Perhaps putting that into words only made me sound distant instead. Even so, I wanted to let her know I was grateful for accepting a freak like me as just another woman and being so kind to me.
そうだ。肝心のものを渡していなかったわね。
Shino said that, then put some stat boxes behind her on the tea table. The stat consisted of 3 solid boxes. They were so big that even I could tell from the outside that there must have been a lot of food in them.
はいこれ。羽生にお裾分け。お裾分け？うん。今日の法事でちょっと作りすぎちゃったの。羽生好きでしょ？これ。
Shino took the lid off the boxes and showed me what was inside. The box was packed to the brim with rows of sweet mochi. Hell yeah. You take those. There were 9 per box there, making a total of 27. This was quite a lot for what she claimed to be extra. Shino must have been planning to bring them to me from the start. It was like a treasure box. What with its sweet smell and gleam of azuki beans enveloping it.
せっかくだから一緒に食べようと思ってね。リクもいれば夕食までの軽い間食にどうかなって思っていたんだけど。羽生？
Shino's voice brought me back to my senses. Whoops, that was a close one. I was so taken by the sweetened mochi that I blacked out there.
どうしましたシノ。いや、羽生がぼーっとしているようだったから。いえ、私は別に。ああ、リクの話でしたね。今日は私用で町の方へ行くとのことでしたので、せっかくですからいただきましょうか。とりあえずその口元の汚れを拭いたら。
Ow? First ow? I panicked and roughly wiped my mouth with my sleeves. Perhaps it was some sort of recoil from getting used to Riku's cooking, but lately I've found mouth-watering food particularly irresistible. Especially sweets and pastries. I'm completely at their mercy by now. Now that I think about it, those baked sweets I had on the mainland a really long time ago were quite good. That rich sweetness and fluffy texture. Back then, I was only mildly curious, but if it were to be put right in front of me right now, I highly doubt I'd stay sane for long. By no means did I hate sweetened mochi, but I never imagined a day would come where I could eat sweets like that even in this country. Oh, no, 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 no. It seemed like my weakness was polluting my brain.
そういえばリクは町に何の用なの？さあ、詳しい内容までは。なんでも呉服屋によると、あ、
Oh no, Miku outfit? Just then, I sensed someone running up the shrine staircase. I don't even need to check to know that it's my beloved. None of those footsteps avoided the shrines, loudly threw open the door to the Furude estate and dashed into the living room.
噂をすればなんとやらね。そのようですね。何も走って帰ってくることもないと思いますが、急いで見せたいものでもあるんじゃない？例えば羽生に贈り物があって、あなたがどんな反応をするのかとか。え？
A gift for me? From Riku? No, I can't think of any sort of reason he'd give me a gift. If I had to say something, it'd been exactly 2 years and... 2-year anniversary! Perhaps you bought me something to commemorate that? Present from Riku to mark the 3rd anniversary of our meeting. Probably. When I unconsciously imagined that, my heart thumped. Did Riku buy something for me?
あら、羽生、顔が赤いわよ。そんなことはありません。照れちゃって。
I could do nothing but keep quiet at Shino's amused teasing. For now, I'll relish Shino's sweetened mochi after I see the gift. I get the feeling that it'll taste much better if I wait on that.
あ、そうだ。もう一人分湯飲みを取ってこないと。
I tried to stand up, but the paper door slammed open with a loud thud. I turned around to find Riku on the other side of the doorway with a triumphant look on his face. In that moment, a chill ran down my spine. I had a very bad feeling. The expectation I'd just been feeling immediately turned into anxiety. No good news, no good was ever waiting in the wings when Riku looked that happy. Riku's eyes sparkled before he even caught his breath.
羽生、見てください。まさに会心の出来の
Yep,
巫女服ができ
that's
ま
what
し
I
た。
thought. I knew it. My faint hopes have been completely crushed.
はい。
ですから巫女服です。最高傑作と言っても過言ではないでしょう。さあ、着てみてください。
Even Shino. Time came to a halt. I was frozen in place with my body only half risen to my feet, with Shino equally immobile. Only Riku and his rapid panting were carving time into the still world.
リク、もう一度言ってくれませんか？何ができたのですか？
Uh-oh.
はい、何度でも言いましょう。素晴らしい出来栄えの巫女服ができたのです。今度こそ羽生に気に入ってもらえる最高の代物を用意しました。
Riku then took out a kimono out from the wrapping cloth he carefully tucked under his arm and showed it to me. It was the work of the devil. Literally. No exaggeration. I had already given up when it came to the split sleeves that showed off the upper arms. But beyond that, there's a big hole. to expose most of the back. Based. What's more, he added something absolutely outlandish this time.
今回の巫女服は今の私に考えうる限り最高のものを作ったつもりです。今羽生が着ている巫女服を元にしながら袖口を分離させるという構造を発展させまして、今回は下の方も切り離してみました。
Ritu said that, then thrust the Miko outfit he was holding out to me. The red Hatomo was a little shorter than normal, and no matter how you looked at it or thought about it, the sleeves only went up to the chest. It had been warped beyond recognition from its original form. This was clearly something else together, wasn't it, you bastard?
今までの私は甘かった。巫女の素晴らしさを表現するために女人の美を追求すると言いながら、未だどこかで巫女服として越えてはならない一線があるような気がしていました。しかしそれこそが巫女服の進化を阻害する悪臭。物事は変革していくことで新たなる世界を切り開くものであり、巫女服もまたそうであると言えましょう。なればこそ今の私に作りうる最高の巫女服というのならば、今までにない斬新かつ洗練された発想が必要だったのです。
Oh, not having it. My head hurt. Incidentally, Riku only went to town a handful of times a year. That was because, as Onidofuchi's village's reincarnation of Oyasho-sama, he received all his daily necessities from the village's donations. So he only ever went all the way to town if he was after something he normally couldn't get otherwise. However, even so, he made this rare shopping trip to get that of all things?
実はこの巫女服は今までの女性服では考えられない挑戦をしています。それはお腹。
Oh no, what did he do to the stomach?
白衣を胸下までとし、ヒバカマは通常の胸下で止めるのではなく、男性と同じく腰止めにする。こうすることで本来日常生活では
Oh
決して見る
god,
ことのない
bare
お腹
back
とい
and
う
bare
部位を
stomach?
あらわにすることができるのです。
Definitely too close to the sun with this one.
なおかつ白衣の下半分をなくしたため、ヒバカマの内側には何もなく、
Oh
左右に
god.
裂かれた切れ目からは
So you can see like the outer legs.
ああ、そこに広がるのは桃源郷。
ほいこら。
Come to think of it, I remember what Ritu told me when I asked him where he was going in town. The tailor shop. Ugh, I'm such an idiot for expecting anything from that stupid jackass. The chills I'd been feeling vanished, replaced with some sort of boiling heat that flowed through my body and passed into my fists. In other words, the gift was never what I had expected. It was just another goddamn Miko outfit from the very start.
今回は私が手ずから作り上げたわけではありませんが、私と志を同じくする兄弟が丹精込めて作り上げてくれました。この間知り合ったばかりですが、とても腕のいい呉服屋さんですよ。さあ羽生、これならばきっとあなたでも納得するはず。納得するか。
Oh, what do you mean? Even you shouldn't have a problem with this. I closed the distance between Ritu and me in one go and punched him hard. Though I didn't put my full strength into it, I didn't exactly show him mercy either. After 2 seconds, Ritu flew from the veranda and vanished into a grove of trees. Jesus.
まったく、一体何を考えているのですか、リクは。それはちょっと私にもわからないな。
A few minutes had passed since then. After blowing Rico away, Shino and I headed over to the veranda to eat our sweetened mochi. Incidentally, Riku was lying at my feet, still unconscious.
でもここでうちにあげてあげないのは奥さんとしてどうなのよ。
Damn.
何を言っているのですか。ここまで連れてきてもらえただけありがたいというものです。完全にお冠ね。
I snorted in response. Maybe it didn't look like, but this was a fairly large compromise on my part. Maybe it didn't look like it, but this was a fairly large compromise on my part. Truth be told, I've been planning to just leave him like always, but when Shino asked if I was going to help him, I reluctantly dragged Riku out of the grove and brought him here.
本当にもうリクと来たら巫女服にどれだけ執着すれば気が済むんですか。確かにリクの巫女服好きは異常ね。でも私には一度も着ろって言ってきたことなかったのはどうしてなのかしら。ああ、そういえばシノが着ると巫女服に対する幻想が打ち砕かれるとか言っていましたね。
He did not say that. He said that she was like the second there's nobody qualified in the village to wear one, and Shino was like almost qualified, but just not there yet. This makes him sound like she was just shit talking her. Oh god. Anya, please. He's already dead. That's fucked up. Shino smiled as a vein nearly burst from her temple. It seemed Riku didn't dare defy her at all because she'd been taking care of him like an older sister since he was a child. So, if my scolding didn't do the trick with him, then maybe a whack from Shino would? Though I wouldn't exactly be all for that.
とにかくリクは異常すぎます。あれだけ嫌だ嫌だと言い続けているのに人の話を聞きもしない。何ですか。宝物庫に呪いの巫女服が封印されていて、それに触ってしまったばかりに憧れの巫女服を着られないまま死んだ女の霊にでも疲れていたりするんですか。
はあ。
いっそ呪いだった方がお祓いやお清めができた分マシだったかもね。まったくです。幽霊や怨霊の類であるならば有利体と構造的にはほぼ同じはず。竜の技術で無理やり分子結合させるなり何かしらに同化させるなりして叩き切ってやるというのに。有利竜？
Oh no, spilling the beans. I raised my voice in unquellable anger and then complained to no one in particular. The one I should have directed it was lying at my feet, but he was unconscious, so there was nothing I could do. I continued venting like that for a while until Shino, who'd been half-heartedly playing along with me, suddenly chuckled. Yep, she did. I tried denying it, but it seemed the truth was written all over my face. As soon as she saw that, Shino patted my head with a smirk. Oh my god. Oh, excuse me? Is Rena secretly a freaking Kimiyoshi? I really was no match for Shino. She always hit the nail on the head when it came seen through me. Figuring out any retorts would be pointless. I reached for a sweetened mochi. I let out a small sigh and took a bite out of one. Huh? Something was different than usual. Normally, eating sweets made me happy the moment I tasted them, but this time... What that? What's in that? Tabasco sauce? I covered my mouth as I headed into the garden and crouched behind a bush. A sudden rush of nausea overwhelmed me. Unable to fight back, I threw up the contents of my stomach before I even knew what was happening. What that? I really thought it was gonna be a bait and switch. Shino rubbed my back, but the nausea refused to leave me, and I couldn't stop groaning. Oh, it's spicy. Wait, I actually just got it. It probably is. I was kind of memeing, and then I would stop memeing because it seemed serious, but I forgot how you hate spicy food, so maybe it's just spicy. Then finally, I stopped throwing up, but the sickening sensation in my stomach stayed, and by the time that sharp, acidic taste filled my mouth, I finally regained enough strength to sit down. Unless it's serious, then I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I couldn't help but be baffled by my sudden episode. I didn't understand how it happened. Maybe I was sick? But as a Ryu and Putus, my immunity was far greater than the human, so it didn't seem like I could get infected by this world's viruses. Then was it some sort of new illness that surpassed a Ryuan's immunity? Impossible. If something like that was spreading, the villagers would have been wiped out. Then what could it be? Just then, Shino spoke in a serious voice. A moment later, she gave a kind smile that seemed to be bursting with joy as she continued. Oh shit! I did not think of that. They did the deed? Okay. Well, holy. I mean, I guess they would eventually, but... Huh.
だって羽生が大好物のおはぎを吐いちゃうなんて他に理由が考えられないじゃない。
Damn.
赤ちゃん。そう、リクの赤ちゃん。
Holy. Shino took my hands and enthusiastically swung them up and down. No way. I was pregnant? Putus had an extremely low birth rate. Moreover, Riku was a human, so even if it was genetically possible, the odds of conceiving a child in a mixed-species relationship were astronomically low. At least that's what I believed. And yet, me and Riku's child was growing within me.
本当に本当よ本当。すごいじゃない。これで羽生も母親よ。私が
That's crazy.
母親。
My mind went blank from this utterly unexpected turn of events. In all honesty, I thought I didn't need children. That's not to say I didn't want any, though. I was just as much as a woman as any other, and I dreamed of having a child with the man I loved. But I'd already given up on that from the start, since Riku and I were different species. But that one wish was nigh impossible. In fact, Ryu and Akka had said as much. It was only natural, so I wasn't sad about it or anything.
そう。私はリクがいるだけで十分。これ以上の幸福は望むべくもない。
And yet, I touched my stomach. No change had appeared yet, but our child was there. I was supposed to have given up on it. And yet...
羽生。
「 I couldn't stop crying for joy. Large teardrops cascaded and fell from the corners of my eyes.
よかったね。よかったね、
I nodded. My body was naturally trembling. I was so happy. I felt like I was soaring above the clouds.
そっか。ついに羽生もお母さんか。どんな子が生まれてくるのか、今から楽しみね。そうですね。一体私とリク、どちらに似た子が生まれるのか。
Just then, my tears stopped on my own words. Looked like us? Hold on, what did I just say? Me and Riku's child. A child with both human and Ryuan blood. In other words, with horns just like me. Well, they don't get horns, so lucky break. A demon's child. These horns have brought me pain more times than I could ever begin to count. When I thought about that, my joy completely shattered to pieces and vanished. The delight that had filled my heart was gone without a single trace.
羽生、どうしたの？
Shino gave me a flabbergasted look when I suddenly stood up. But I was in no state of mind to answer. I just looked at Riku in terror. I couldn't. I couldn't tell Riku about this. Because if I did, he would surely want the child just as I had in my dreams. But if I had the baby, someone would suffer. Oh, because of their appearance. Oh, because they were born with something the humans of this world don't possess. Would it be me, Riku, or the child themselves? The more I thought about it, the dizzier I got from the weight and bitterness of those implications. What should I do? What in the world do I do? Boom. Alright, let's end it here. Seems like a good spot. Anyways, cool episode. We got some good memes. Plus Hanyu pregnant. The drama continues next time on Higurashi. Peace.